The Serving Up Discipleship podcast is to help our audience understand the sacred work of service missionaries and why service missions are spiritually transformative and fulfilling. This podcast is produced under the direction of a senior service missionary couple, social media advisors.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another episode of Serving Up Discipleship. I am your host, Elder Lewis. This is my co-host, Elder Price, and we have a wonderful guest with us today, Sister Fowers, who is also part of the council as an area specialist. So, Sister Fowers, why don't you go ahead and kind of give us a little introduction on who you are?
Okay, I'm Sister Fowers. I serve in the Utah Layton Mission. Let's see, I love puzzles, puzzle addict all the way. My favorite color is pink, and my favorite animal is a horse.
There you go.
Nice.
That's awesome. It's really cool.
Horses are really cool. I do enjoy horses.
Yeah.
So,
how long have you been serving for, Sister Fowers?
I've been serving for 5 months.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well done. Okay, well, we kind of wanted to dive a little bit more into your schedule. So we kind of wanted you just to lay out your week for us, kind of just like your assignments, where you go, what you do. So yeah.
Okay, so on Monday, I go down to the church office building in Salt Lake, and I'm there from like 9 to 3:30. And then Tuesday, I work as an Ogden volunteer school district, and I have a companion who goes with me in my district. Her name is Sister Killian. She's amazing. Love her. And then I have like district council later, zone conference, zone council. And then I usually go teaching with the proselyting missionaries after that and go on splits with them. And then Wednesday, I'm at the church office building again. So I go down to Salt Lake again and just 9 to 3:30. And then Thursday, same thing, church office building, 9 o'clock to 3:30. And then Friday, I am at the temple and I work at the clothing counter upstairs from 1 to 5.
That's awesome. So what do you like exactly do at the church office building? Is it split multiple different days doing different stuff, or is it all the same thing? Or
So I mainly work on social media for the Service Missionaries page, or for the Southern Salt Lake Valley, their page. And I also do like Facebook proselyting finding if I'm all done with my social media stuff. So yeah, that's what
that's awesome.
do.
Yeah. Just a little shout out, or I don't know how to really explain this, but if you remember last week, we had Sister Bailey on here. And so you work with Sister Bailey, correct?
Yeah, I do.
So yeah, so Sister Fowers, Sister Bailey, and a few other of you guys do this as well. They're the ones who run that service missionary Facebook and Instagram page, right? I don't want to get this wrong or anything, but yeah, so they do an awesome job. So that's wonderful. Well, yeah, we always like to ask this, and usually it's pretty unanimous, but we'll see. What's your favorite assignment, or what's your favorite thing that you do in your schedule wise?
Let's see. I don't know. I like all of them for different reasons, but if I have to choose, I'm going to go with the Cobb and the temple. Both are like my absolute favorites. So
there it is.
Yeah,
the temple.
Most people unanimously agree the temple is the favorite assignment. So
if you need testimony of the temple, just watch all these every single episode, and you will hear the exact same thing. The temple,
pretty much
every time. Well, wonderful. That's awesome. It's really cool. So
definitely. Well, Price, I think it's that time of the podcast.
Is it?
I feel like it might be.
I think that's
so. Sister Fowers, we have a section that you may be familiar with. Segment. Every week we do what's called Question of the Week. So it's a frequently asked question that we as service missionaries may or may not get on a regular basis. So this week's Question of the Week is, and this is one that I've personally gotten. Do we live by ourselves, or do we have to live with our parents? So,
and we can all kind of take turns answering this. We don't have to throw it all on you and just be like, Sister Fowers.
So in my mission, service missionaries do generally live with their parents, but there have been service missionaries that have gone and stayed with proselyting missionaries for a week, or like just in general gone and have stayed somewhere by themselves.
Right.
And there's even been like service missionaries who have like transferred into proselyting missionaries and like just stayed by themselves for a week trying that out. So, but generally, service missionaries live with their parents most of the time.
right. I have seen as well where they'll allow service missionaries to live like their grandparents, whatever. Those are usually, though, when their grandparents need someone to take care of them, and the service missionaries are just a very great opportunity for them to be able to do that as part of their service. But yeah, generally it's living with the parents.
I will also make mention too, just to add on to what they both already said. We just barely interviewed me and Elder Ray, and he's one of the he's what do we call him? The social media council
counselor.
He's like the leader of the whole thing, him and his wife. And so we just interviewed another potential area specialist, and he originally is from a small town in Nevada. That's where his parents live, and there's not a lot of opportunities for a service missionary. And so in cases like that, they can actually go live with other people, such as grandparents or uncles, or in some cases even friends or family friends. So they would go live with them, and they have more opportunities to serve. I had a missionary here in Cedar who was from Missouri, small town in Missouri, and he came and lived with his uncle and was able to serve in Cedar City because we have a lot more opportunities to serve. And so it helped him a lot better and was able to meet his needs. So yeah, I think, but generally, as we've said, you live with your parents or family members. So wonderful. So we kind of talked about this for this next question. I think we took care of the question of the week, hopefully. If you still have questions, let us know. Email's down in the description. But I wanted to know, Sister Fowers, what's your favorite part about being a service missionary? I know we talked about your favorite like assignment, but is there like a whole aspect of the service mission that you just love?
My favorite part is the social environment, because I love talking to people and like meeting people and getting to know lots of different people. So that is definitely my favorite part, is you get to meet all kinds of people because of the social environment you're placed in.
I love that. And I'm sure you probably get a lot of that at the church office building, right? You work with a lot of people there. That's awesome. Yeah. I would definitely say that service missions are great to become social as well, because instead of just having one companion they work with every day, and you have, your district activities maybe once a week or even longer of time, a lot of your assignments are with other missionaries, like half the district or some of the districts. So it's very social for service missionaries. So that's awesome though. That's fun.
So we haven't been the greatest at this, but we're trying a new thing. We're going to have themes with our podcast. So the theme for this one is humility. So the next couple of questions are going to be based around humility. So Sister Fowers, we wanted to know, how has humility played an important role in your mission?
I think it's played an important role in like being able to work with people and just being able to be there for people and like help them in whatever they need.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that. Have you had any big experiences with humility playing a big miraculous role, or any stories about that you'd like to share?
Let's see. I think just like, I don't know. I remember this one time where one person got on my nerves, and I was just like, and I can be stubborn. I can be a really stubborn person. And, sometimes I'm like, I want it my way, or not that way. And, you know, my mom just like talked to me when this one person was getting on my nerves, and she was like, Taya, like, you need to be humble and you need to like be understanding and just be like nice and loving. And after that I was like, you know what, okay, I will try that, I will do that. And it was a huge blessing that she talked to me, because after that, when this one person started to get on my nerves, I could just feel the Spirit like coming in and like simmering me down and being like, okay, now's the time to be humble. And yeah, I was humble, I was understanding and caring and not stubborn anymore. So that's my experience.
I love that. Thanks for sharing. That's a very powerful experience with being able to love your enemies. And I'm trying to remember the quote because I don't want to mess this up. So if anyone ever like remembers the quote or can help me out here, please do. But there's that quote that talks about, you know, love your enemies, do good to them that do wrong to you. Pray for those who mock you or whatever. But in that sense, and I think that's got a lot to do with humility and being humble. But I think that there's a whole other side of that goes into a lot of our other topics. So I'm sure that as we go on and have more of these episodes, you'll start seeing a kind of, basically it all goes back to the attributes of Christ. And so one of the biggest things that we're trying to do here is lay out each attribute and try to single it out. And I think Sister Fowers gave a great example of an attribute, which is humbleness or humility, not humbleness, of Christ. So that was a little side joke on our topics earlier today. I wrote humbleness as one of the potential topics that we could talk about, and
instead of humility.
And so that was, unfortunately, English is hard for me sometimes. So
I gave him a hard time for it, but all in good fun.
I did. and apparently I'm still saying humbleness. So but maybe this is great to humble me. You know, I don't know, English beats me, but no, I love that. Thank you, Sister Fowers. I really appreciate that experience. I've had I'm sure other Lewis has had similar experiences. I have as well. Even being in like leadership positions, you know, you always have those sometimes where you don't see eye to eye, and it's really hard to work with some, and you're just really wish that you could just get it through their head, but you got to take a step back and remember the Christ love. So
I think for me, my most humbling experience was having to be on a scooter for 3 months and having to rely on other people driving me around. So that was, fun. You may have kind of already answered this with your experience there, Sister Fowers, but I just want to ask this anyways. What would you say your biggest blessing you have received from humility was or is?
I think just being able to like, you know, work with people and understand and like be there for them and hear them out whenever they need it.
Yeah, definitely. That's a very important aspect, to be able to, you know, be there for people and understand their side of things and be there when they need that understanding, because everyone deserves understanding and everyone deserves to have someone understand them. So that's awesome.
Definitely helps develop relationships in that sense, being understanding and being able to be patient and have that humility to be able to see their point of view and work with them. And so I think that's a great example of that as well. But wonderful. Well, thank you, Sister Fowers. And before we end with the testimony here, but I just wanted to ask just a kind of a final question for you, or maybe, unless Elder Lewis has some more questions, I don't want to step on him. I think I accidentally stepped on him last week when I cut him off from his final testimony question, but
throw me curveballs there.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'll try not to, but I just wanted to know, was there any experience that you've had as a missionary or as a service missionary that has really impacted you or your life? And it could be in preparation for life after the mission or anything like that. Like, what has been a big impactful experience that you've had on your mission?
I think just like, I think being in leadership has definitely helped me a lot. Because just like being around people that were so welcoming and with just welcomed me with open arms. Because when I first started my mission, I was really not confident in myself. And I feel like through being in a leadership position and having that connection with people in my district and my zone, that my confidence has gone way up.
So I love that. I love that so much. I think one of my favorite aspects of the service mission is seeing people grow in different ways that they didn't think they can grow. Right. And I think throughout my life, I've always struggled to change. I like to be stubborn sometimes and just be like, not gonna happen. But through the mission, I've been able to kind of look at myself and see the changes I made, but also be able to help others in their way to change. And one of my favorite things to do is help people break out of their shells. Right. And so you can sometimes get some missionaries in your area of leadership and you can help them along their path. And so I think that's awesome. And yeah, I love that. Well, Elder Lewis, I don't want to impede anymore. Do you have any other questions before we get a final testimony?
No, I do not.
I'm trying to think of any, but I don't know. You've kind of hit all the points. Is there anything you want to say, Sister Fowers? Is there anything?
I think just thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Oh yeah, thanks for coming and joining us.
Special for having a little interview. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
We appreciate you having the time to hop on and to tell us about your service experience. I think that's kind of just the biggest goal of the Serving Up Discipleship podcast, just to get the service mission name out there, to show the world who we are and what we do. And you're a great example of that. So we appreciate you. So
yeah, definitely. Well, Sister Fowers, if you'd be willing, we would love to hear your testimony on service missions.
Yes. They are the best. I love them, and I love that in a service mission you get to serve people as Christ would, meaning showing them the charity of Christ and getting to show them his love. Because I know that people have said, well, how can a service missionary bring people closer to Christ? But I have seen it with my own eyes, and I know that it can happen. But I know definitely through a service missionary, people can come closer to Christ because we serve them as his hands and just give them our service and showing them daily love and the daily love of Christ. And so, yeah.
love it. Thank you so much for sharing that testimony with us. It's very important to, I think the first episode, we missed out on the testimony of me and you, Elder Lewis. So having that testimony be a part of this is so special and so spiritual, and we love it. Thank you, Sister Fowers. We appreciate the spirit you've brought here today.
Of course.
Yeah. And again, thank you so much for joining us. This is a real joy and pleasure for me, Elder Price. We really enjoy doing this and getting to know different people from different walks of life. So even when your brothers decide to come in and interrupt.
Yep.
No,
it's all good.
No worries.
Well, I think that's all we have for today, Elder Price. This is Elder Lewis and Elder Price signing off.
Till next week. Let's serve up some discipleship.
Thank you for taking the time to see or hear this podcast. Your hosts were Elder Lewis and Elder Price. Your editor is me, Elder Gibby. If you want to see clips from the show or other service mission related content, please look for the Hands of the Lord Facebook page. Thanks again for thinking of us, and we'll see you next time.